Need for Speed games. Need for Speed games have been out for quite a while. Honestly, the franchise has been out for what? Closer to around 30 years or something like that. Crazy how time flies. I mean, it's just we're just slowly crawling to our fucking graves at this point. Am I right, guys? Oh, anyways, but yes, this franchise has been out for quite a while and has produced so many games throughout the years. Some bangers, some stinkers, some quite in the slap in the middle and just like, they're alright. They exist. But these games overall shaped our childhood and sometimes made us actual car people. Some of these games actually made us turn into car people, got into cars and and helped shape a culture, and some of these games have a cult following, some are maybe overrated, some underrated, and some lost in time in history and just kind of forgotten about. But Need for Speed overall is probably one of the most important racing game franchises of all time. It's out there, it's been out there for quite a while, and it's one of the most famous franchise racing games of all time. But yes, hello everybody, let me introduce myself. My name is Ozzy920. I play racing games on this channel most of the time. Sometimes I do other stuff, but mostly I play racing games, and most of the race games include Need for Speed, and we played a lot of Need for Speed games in the past. As you can tell, there's a tier list of Need for Speed games that we have played in the past, and some we haven't touched. Now, of course, some of these games I haven't played because they're a little bit before my time, or I physically can't hold a copy of the game because I don't have the console or whatever. But it doesn't mean we can't rank them. So yeah, there are two games in specific that I haven't, never played or haven't gotten into research. This one, I don't know what this one's about. And Need for Speed Rally, I didn't know Need for Speed game. I didn't know Need for Speed actually made a rally game until very recently as well. And, turns out they did make a rally game, which is interesting. But, that's besides the point. There's a lot of other Need for Speed games that will, rank right off the bat. You know what? Without further ado, let's get it started with the most obvious answer: Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. So, this game is very important to me. I think it's probably very important to a lot of other people. It's very important to YouTube history as well, because Need for Speed Most Wanted, arguably the most popular, probably to some, probably very overrated. To a lot of others, it's the best Need for Speed game of all time, or best racing game of all time. It's very arguable. To me, my personal opinion, it is my favorite racing game of all time. Arguably, my favorite game of all time. This is the first ever video game I ever played. This is the reason why I got into cars, that this is the game that shaped me who I am right now, honestly. This was my childhood. I grew up playing this game, and I remember it was a very rainy day. I got home from school. I was a little bit of a depressed mood. I wasn't in the greatest mood of all time. And my dad surprised me with a PS2 console. We didn't have a lot of money, and this was around the time where the Xbox 360 was out, the PS3 was already out, and the PS2 was just the outgoing console. But I didn't care, man. I didn't care about the consoles at the time. I was just a kid. I didn't know what consoles were out at the time, and the PS2 was out there, and my dad gave that to me, and I was very grateful for that. Alright, and Need for Speed Most Wanted was the first game I ever played, and this, to me, is very important. This holds a very important place in my heart. This is a game that I still consider a very hard-to-beat game. There's no other Need for Speed or racing game out there that is like this, And it's kind of obvious where I'm going to place it. It's already top of the list. Top of the list, and honestly, my favorite racing game of all time. I'm going to revisit this game very soon as well. Once the Need for Speed Unbound series, once I finish that, I will probably move back to Most Wanted and do my little challenge thing, which, yes, it's going to be very fun to revisit this game. Wait, there's another rally game? What the fuck? Okay, I'm going to put you right there, of course. Sorry. But yes, I wanted to get that one out of the way because it's the most obvious answer. And, there's no other Need for Speed game that's gonna top that. No other new Need for Speed that's gonna top this when it comes to, nostalgia and, the how the game handles, or the cars, or or the police chases, or arguably it doesn't have the greatest storyline, but still, man, like the way the game feels, it's hard to describe, but like the handling in this game, it doesn't feel super arcade compared to like the newer Need for Speed games, but it feels right. It feels perfect in my own opinion, and it's just like, it's hard to top that handling. It's the handling that I grew up with, and it's just perfect. And the environment, Rockport City, Roseville, and Camden Beach, the little cities around that area, and the environment overall, that grunge feeling, it matches with the aesthetic of the game, and it just, I don't know, it's hard to describe. And then you have the cop chases, and then the main antagonist, Cross, and then Razor, of course. It just feels so right. It feels so good. And the cop chases is arguably the best part of the game. The customization, not on par compared to like Underground 2 or any of the newer Need for Speed games, but it still has that factor of customization. I can't forget about the songs in this game as well. The soundtrack in this game was phenomenal, man. You have some bangers and bangers on that fucking soundtrack. I still have some of the songs on my Spotify playlist. A lot of these Need for Speed games, I have their songs in my playlist. Because they have bangers. They have bangers when it comes to songs in this game. So yeah. But yeah, it's hard to beat that. But yeah, enough gushing about Most Wanted. Alright. Now let's talk about one of the worst Need for Speeds of all time. Let's talk about Nitro. Now, Nitro is a game that I haven't played, but a lot of others did, unfortunately, had the willpower to actually play this game. And, it's an arcade game. Why name it Need for Speed, though? Why does it require to have the Need for Speed name there, man? It does not feel like a Need for Speed game. It feels too arcadey to be a Need for Speed game. And, yeah, I think it only exclusively released on the Wii. I'm not sure if they made an arcade version of this game or not, but, yeah, I don't consider it much of a Need for Speed game, huh? But you are going on the poor list. Unfortunately, Need for Speed Nitro, you will be forgotten. I really hope you are forgotten. But speaking of forgotten games, let's talk about Hot Pursuit 2. This game doesn't get talked about enough, man. Like, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 is quite arguably a very good game, honestly. I think it came out around 2002, and graphic-wise, it looks very ahead of its time. Like, the cars look pretty good, the environment looks really good. I don't remember much about the soundtracks. I do remember playing this game, though, and I remember being overall fun. Of course, this is another Need for Speed game that has cops, and you can play as cops as well. And that was also a very fun game mode to play. And, and you got the different challenges and stuff with this game as well, and just the cars and everything. The handling was okay, of course. It's early 2000s handling, so it's not going to be perfect, but still, it was pretty good. Honestly, I wish it gets talked about more. Kind of on the level with the, the big, Need for Speed games. The bigger ones, I'm talking about, the Undergrounds or your Carbons or Most Wanted, I feel like should be talked more about. And plus, look at the cover card, man. Look at the cover of this game. Look at that cover. It looks pretty good, man. It looks really good. It looks pretty good. So, yeah. Now, let's go to the strange. Let's go to the weird sort of Need for Speed games, and let's talk about Need for Speed Carbon, but not regular Carbon. Let's talk about the PSP version of Need for Speed Carbon. Let's talk about Need for Speed Carbon in the City. And honestly, it's actually pretty good. Now, this game has a completely different storyline compared to the original Need for Speed Carbon. It doesn't follow the, the main protagonist of the Need for Speed games from Underground through, Undercover. It doesn't follow that main antagonist. It follows a different protagonist, sorry. It follows a different protagonist, and we don't really, I don't remember the guy's name, or we even have a name or something like that. But it follows a character that, got into an accident, has amnesia, and tries to work his way back up into the ranks and stuff, and just has his own very different, unique story. And I kind of digged it. I remember playing this on the PSP quite a while ago, and it has its own feel. Of course, it does have like the same songs, and I think it's based on the same city as the original Carbon or something like that. Maybe a little bit different, but Own the City is definitely a banger. It is pretty top-notch, and should get talked about more. These PSP versions of these Need for Speed games do deserve some love, and we'll get more into the other PSP versions of these games, but yes, that game, pretty fun. Wait a second, there's another Nitro? I do not remember. I do not remember. You'll go to the Never Played. You will go to the Never Played, son. I do not remember you. Okay. Next on the list is arguably the most important game of the entire franchise. The very first game. The very first Need for Speed game. Arguably the most important game of the racing franchise. Because this is where everything launched, Without this game, we wouldn't have a Need for Speed, And from what I heard, it's a pretty decent game. From what I heard. Not perfect, but pretty decent. Pretty average. And the reason I did put it on the list is because arguably in historical terms, this game is very important, of course, and this is where, without this game, we wouldn't have this franchise, So, yeah, I feel like it deserves a spot somewhere on this list. That's not poor or the worst, but, right there in the middle, It's right there. It exists, but it is very important. Now that we've talked about the oldest Need for Speed game, let's talk about the newest Need for Speed game that came out very recently. Let's talk about Unbound. Unbound is the most recent game that's been released in the franchise. I think it came out around 2022, 2023, I don't really remember. But it came out quite a bit ago, a couple years ago now, and recently I just started playing the game. First time around, I wasn't, I didn't click. It didn't really click for me. I didn't feel right. I don't know. It just felt off to me. I didn't really connect with the game. I didn't put too many hours into the game. I did manage to finish it, but just like, it was just another game, man. I didn't really feel connected to it. Plus, the storyline just felt flat at the end. It just felt underwhelming. And I changed my tune a bit. Not much, but just a bit. And after replaying the game, I discovered this game ain't that bad, actually. I really enjoyed the city. I really liked the environment. The cop chases were pretty fun, honestly. And honestly, it was a vibe. I ain't gonna lie. It was fun playing this game, and you can mess around with the cops at day and at night. You have the risk reward system. You might lose your money if you fuck up and stuff, and and I didn't mind that. The betting system is a little bit mid. Sometimes the AI can rubber band to the absolute grotesque amount, to the point where it gets a little bit frustrating. But I don't know. After replaying this game, besides the storyline, storyline is still the same. I still feel the same about the storyline. I still feel underwhelmed with the storyline and the antagonist and everything like that. I still feel like Need for Speed Unbound is pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's average. I would say it's pretty good. Honestly, it's a pretty good game. And if it were on sale, I wouldn't pay full price for the game, of course, but like if it goes on sale, maybe it goes like below $15 or something like that. I remember picking up the game for like $5 or something like that. Crazy low price for the game. Crazy low. I remember it was on sale, bought it very cheap, and just like on the PlayStation Store. I originally bought the game full price, $60 or whatever, on the Xbox. I should have waited. I regret that purchase. I rebought the game for the PS5 for cheap. And you know what? Sometimes it's worth to wait. And you know what? This game was pretty good. this game is pretty good. I would recommend it if it's on sale. But yeah, let's go to back to the weird. Let's go back to Need for Speed World. Need for Speed World is a game that I haven't played. I heard many reviews about Need for Speed World. Of course, it's a very controversial Need for Speed because it's just mostly, as you can tell, it's an online game. It's an all-online game. I think it's available. It was available on the PC and stuff. It got shut down, so we couldn't really play the game. So it's kind of lost to time and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It has its own little weird community and stuff. Let me know if y'all actually did play this game. Actually, for those connoisseurs of the, Need for Speeds. Let me know if y'all played this game. Let me know how it was, how the game handled. How was the environment? How's the community? What's there for Need for Speed World. And I can't play. I would say I will put it never play, but that wouldn't be fair. Assessment of the game. Of course I put like Rally and the both of the Rally games and Nitro X. Actually, I'll just, yeah, we'll put you there. There we go. But that's more fair. But Need for Speed World, I don't know where to put you at because you don't exist anymore. There was a community behind you, I think, but and it had it was still part of the black box era, so it still had that sort of feel of Need for Speed, the OG feel of the Need for Speed game. So I'll put you at poor because you don't exist anymore. Your servers got shut down, kid. I can't really play you, so my list could change, but hey, you existed at one time. So there's that. Let's talk about something that's a little bit similar, but not too much. Let's talk about No Limits. No Limits is a app. No Limits is a mobile Need for Speed game. I think it is the first mobile Need for Speed game that got released. Maybe not. I don't really remember. But it's a mobile racing game in general and stuff. And of course, pay to win. It's kind of obvious. You spend quite a bit of real life money, to progress in a lot of stuff. It's a cash cow at the end of the day. It's an EA cash cow. You can see the logo right there. Y'all can expect the obvious answer that this fucking thing is gonna be a cash cow, of course. And oh, you can unlock this game, but you have to spend this much. You can unlock this car, but you have to spend this amount of money. Oh, hey, you run out of fucking gas bars. Hey, you watch this ad to get more gas bars so you can play the game. Or, hey, spend some money. Spend 99 cents to refill your gas tank or whatever. Something stupid like that. And I'm just referencing CSR, but they're all the same in general. This is not I don't think this is not really a drag racing game, but it's sort of I don't know, it's hard to describe this game in general. It's weird. I don't think it's on par as the Asphalt games. Remember the Asphalt games, Asphalt 8 or 7 or whatever, where it's just full-blown racing game on on your phone and stuff, but still has the mobile game elements. I don't know if it's on par of compared to that, but I think it's sort of similar to that feel, but not really. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but yeah, it exists. I'll say it's average, but yeah, it's there. All right. Oh, wait a second. Hey, there's another Need for Speed game that we haven't played before. Edge. I think this came out in the Chinese market or something like that as a esport related thing or something like that. I don't really remember, but I think it was something of that caliber or whatever. I don't really remember. It's hard to remember this one because obviously it wasn't released here, right? I don't think so. So I don't know. I don't know much about this one, so let me know Let me know if I'm completely right or completely wrong about this one. So yeah, if y'all out there who has played this game, let me know how it feels. Let me know what kind of what's the feel of that game. What's the point of this one? But yeah, ooh, this one's gonna be tough. Which one do I choose? Which one do I? Let's go to Most Wanted. Most Wanted 2012. So this game unexpectedly blew up back in around 2012 because a lot of random YouTubers were playing this game. A lot of random YouTubers were playing this game. Like, I'm talking about random players that have been playing this game. Like, people who don't typically play Need for Speed games or racing games in general have played this game back in 2012. And I remember it was talked about a lot. And I remember this game was oddly everywhere back in 2012. I'm talking about everywhere. I don't know why it got so wildly popular back in 2012, but it did. I don't know. I don't know why was there a bunch of hype in this one. I wouldn't say it's the greatest. I won't say it's a bad game. It's just it was a very, very weird game in the franchise. I know there's a lot more to it, but like, I think there's a lot of cut stuff from the game that would have made it maybe even weirder. I don't even know, man. I remember there's like a bunch of like cut content from the game that didn't make it. That maybe some things would have made sense, but like, it's very weird because, you know, you go to one car, you switch to one car to another, and you know and then some cars keep some of their upgrades and stuff, and there's little to no customization to the game other than performance parts or changing the color of your car. That's it. And then you have their own version of the blacklist, sort of, but not really. It's just a list of cars that you have to race, and then you earn the car. That's it. Very simple, very minimalistic, and has a weird, has a weird list of cars. Honestly, guys, remember the Mauricio B2 or BC? I don't remember them. Some Russian supercar. I don't really remember. It started with an M. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Right? And then you got the Ariel Atom. You got the Ford Raptor. You got cars like the Focus ST. No, what's the Focus ST one in the game? I don't even remember, man. You had some weird cars in this game, and of course, cop chases were there. Some of the cutscenes were very, very weird to the opening of the racing games. It just felt, it was a very, very weird game, and honestly, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't really enjoy it, but do I say poor, or do I say average? I would say it's above No Limits. Yeah. Wait a second. There was a mobile version of the game. I think I remember. There was a mobile version of this game. I remember. There was. Was there? Like, you had to pay like a few bucks for it or something like that? I remember there was, maybe there was. Maybe there wasn't. I don't remember. Let me know if there was a mobile version of this game. I think there was. But yeah. But yeah. What a weird game. But yeah. Speaking of games that go into that similar style, let's talk about the Hot Pursuit, the newish Hot Pursuit. So this came out around 2010, I would say 2011, 2010. I remember seeing a bunch of commercials about this game when I was growing up as a kid, and I kind of really want to play this game because of the fucking Pagani. The Pagani Zonda was such a cool car at the time. Still is a very cool car. But, man, oh man, I really wanted to play this game when I was younger. And, I had the chance to play the game, and it was pretty fun, I ain't gonna lie. Banger of a game. So, you know what? I would say it's very good. I would say it's a fun game. Go pick it up, it's on sale. So this essentially is the same thing. So yeah, essentially very fun. Pick it up on sale. There you go. Now, Porsche Unleashed. So Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed came out around the 90s, I would say. 99, 98 or something like that. I don't really remember, but like Need for Speed, EA had this very exclusive right. EA has this very exclusive rights to Porsche. At the time, Porsche signed a deal with EA or something like that, that they can, you know, Need for Speed is like the only racing game franchise, or EA Racing Games had like the license to Porsche, so they have Porsche can't, you know, go out and, you know, have their cars featured in other games like Forza or Gran Turismo or any other those games like Midnight Club. They, you know, all those other games used Gambala or Roof. Y'all remember those brands? You all remember that? You know, those car brands into their games. All right, Porsche, you know, was exclusive to Need for Speed at the time, so that's why you saw a lot of Porsche in Need for Speed, and not a lot of Porsche in a lot of other racing games. So yeah, but if I were to rank Porsche Unleashed, given the historical importance, I guess, I would say it's average. Again, it's an older Need for Speed game, so I can't be too harsh on it. So yes, it's there. This one's gonna break a lot of people's hearts, because to me, I did not like this game, and I still don't like this game after playing it. I don't know, man. But looking back at it, Need for Speed 2015. I know a lot of people like this game, and there's some people who don't like this game. I don't like this game. Yes, customization has returned to this game. Yes, I get why this game is very important, because customization, it looks very, very good. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Graphics wise, it looks great. Customization looks great. But everything else, I just do not like. I do not like the game's handling. I do not like the game's storyline. And the racing aspect of things and the different events, I don't know, it just felt repetitive and just boring. I don't know how I feel. The city was okay. The city was alright. I don't know. But like, there's some stuff that I just did not enjoy. Remember the crash cams? I do not like the crash cams, man. The crash cams in this game pissed me off when I ever played this game. Y'all seen that throughout, you know, my playthrough of Need for Speed 2015. Alright? Y'all seen that firsthand. I was frustrated with this game sometimes, man. It pissed me off. The handling pissed me off. The car list was alright, you know. They still had Toyota there. Toyota still existed at that time before they went, nope, we out of the franchise. And I don't know. It is slightly bored because it is the last Need for Speed game that had the Supra in it, but like, other than that, I just did not enjoy it. I didn't have fun. I know a lot of others did have fun with this game, you know, around the time where the game got really popular. I know a lot of others did have fun with this game when it first launched, but to me, I didn't have that same experience. So yeah, I wasn't there at launch, so I couldn't tell you. But after 10 years, yep, 10 years, to me, this game is, man, it's poor. It's poor, yeah. It's a game that I just felt, and I still feel the same way after 10 years. I was hyped when the game, you know, when the first trailer came out, I was hyped. Because, man, Need for Speed finally has customization. Man, it has that same feel again. The feeling has restored, guys. It's like the remaster of Underground 2, guys. It's back. We're so back, baby. And after playing the game, I was like, you know, granted, it was a few years later, several years later after the game released. After playing the game, I felt meh. forgettable. So yeah, it's there. So it's poor. Man, oh man, talk about wasted potential. Let's talk about Need for Speed Undercover. Man, oh man, this is what happens when you leave a game half-baked. This is what happens when you rush a game, development team. And, this is what happens when you rush a game development studio into finishing a game that is not ready to be released. At best, this game needed more time, probably another year or two of development left. But instead, it came out and it just felt so unfinished, and it just felt so sloppy. It felt so, low quality, which is very unfortunate because they focused so much time and effort when it comes to the storyline. Arguably one of the better storylines in Need for Speed out of the entire franchise, besides the other one that I'm gonna get into at some point. You know what I'm talking about. But Undercover, man, man, I wish it had more love, but it didn't. It had so much potential, and unfortunately, it got squandered. And yeah, unfortunately, I think it has to go on one of the worst ones. Unfortunately, I still had fun with this game. I arguably had more fun with this game compared to this one, but I had to be fair and had to put this one up there because at least the game looked finished. At least this game was finished. It looks great, and it felt like a real game. This wasn't. This felt very rushed and very unfinished, unpolished, and very sloppy of a Need for Speed game, which is unfortunate because this was a black box game. It was still part of the black box era of Need for Speed, of that team, and unfortunately, that team got guided away. That team got, is no longer part of the Need for Speed franchise, unfortunately. But, still, I had fun. I had more fun of the PS2 version of this game. The PS3 version, don't get me wrong, it looks pretty decent, but man, it just does not look right. Oh, remember the piss tint? Guys, remember the piss tint? That, it's worse than Need for Speed Most Wanted. Most Wanted had a really weird tint, kind of like an orangish tint. This was much worse. This was like turned up to 10. And this was around the time where a lot of media a lot of media around the time was like had that weird tint. When I'm talking about like the movies or shows. Remember Breaking Bad? Whenever they go to Mexico and they have that fucking orange tint whenever they go to Mexico, kind of like that. So, I guess sticking to that tropical theme, let's go back and let's go fast forward many years later, 10 years later to say, to 2018. Need for Speed Heat. Heat came out quite a while ago, probably, I don't know, 5 years now, 6, wait, 7? Has it been 7? Actually, it's been 7 probably. It's probably been 7 years. Oh gosh. Oh god. But yeah. Need for Speed 2018. Heat. Arguably one of the better newer Need for Speed games on this list. And I remember having a lot of fun with this game. This game was a lot of fun, and after replaying it, I don't know. After replaying this game, man, I wish it had a little bit more love compared to Unbound. I wish there was a little bit more, content after the game was released. There was, a couple of things maybe that released post-launch, but after that, nothing. Game was dead. And I wish this game was, still has more life to it, and I wish it does. And car was pretty, was pretty good. The story was pretty decent. I ain't gonna lie, the cutscenes were pretty fun to watch. Some of the lines were a little bit janky. I ain't gonna lie. Some of the, some of the voice actors, oh boy, were not the greatest voice acting, but still, It was a fun Need for Speed. The cop chases were okay. I would say it's above Unbound. It's a very good game. Recommend buying it on sale. Yes. And speaking on sale, let's talk about Payback. Oh boy, it gets controversial. So, Payback. Not a lot of people love this game. I bought this game when it was brand new, and I loved the game. And I still like the game. Yes, it's cheesy. Yes, the gambling system is very stupid. Yes, the aspect of going to the auto store and has to gamble to fucking get a decent part using tokens is very stupid. Might I say idiotic. Might I say very corrupt thing for EA to do. A very greedy, slimy thing for EA to do to get more money out of you, to make you buy more tokens or loot boxes, quote unquote, whatever they were. You know, spending your real money to get these parts, aesthetic parts, or cars, or, you know, or tokens to, you know, in order to progress further into the game so you can make your car faster. And, you have to spend real life money for that shit sometimes. Or replay some of the races, which gets repetitive sometimes. But still, I enjoyed it. The environment looks good. I actually loved the environment. I love the Nevada scene, and, you know, yes, some of the dialogue is a little cheesy, but it's still somewhat better than some of the newer Need for Speeds, honestly. And it's a fun game. I enjoy this one. I do. I like this one. Not many others do. And I actually like some of the songs in this game. Unbound was so bad when it comes to the song list, the playlist. Yes, there's a couple bangers. You know, A$AP Rocky was there, but overall, most of the songs were ass. Heat was okay. It fit with the vibe, but like not all the songs were great. Payback though was different and was a different vibe. I actually vibed with some of the songs, man. Vibed with some of the songs, man. The songs were really fun. Really, really fun. And, you know, this game was fun. I enjoyed it. And, you know, the progression style of this game was fun. It was better. I wouldn't say it's better. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. It's better than fucking Heat. It's better than Unbound when it comes to the progression side of things, when it comes to the fucking villains. There was actual proper villains. There was proper cliques. There were proper gangs out there. And, you know, and these newer Need for Speeds they don't have that style of bosses. Where the fuck are the bosses in, you know, in these Need for Speed games, man? Like, the main antagonist where you have to, you know, beat certain amount of racers, and then you get to that main boss, and then progress further into the story. I like that aspect of the older Need for Speeds. And these newer Need for Speeds don't have that. Payback did. And that's the one part I actually really enjoyed about Need for Speed Payback. So, it's better than Need for Speed 2015. I have to say it's better than 2015. And I have to say it's better. Yeah. Sue me. Oh gosh. Sue me. I dare you. Leave a comment down below and leave your fucking your disgust on me. I dare you to. I dare you land some slander on me, you know, call me a bunch of names saying, you're wrong, Need for Speed 2015 is ass cheeks. You know what I think? I'm the one that's making this list. I'm the one that is in charge of this video. You aren't. I dare you make your own list. Do it! I dare ya! Make your own list down in the comments below. Let me know, huh? Voice your opinion. I dare you. Alright? It's a free country, man. You know, I won't judge. This is my list, though. Don't judge me. Or do. I don't give a shit. But yeah. Payback. Yeah. That's right. It's better than 2015. You know what? It might be better than Unbound. Maybe even Heat. No, actually, no, that's a little bit too far. But y'all get what I mean. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Payback. Payback's fun. Alright, let's talk about Rivals. Alright, so Rivals is another Need for Speed game that came out around the 2010s, I think around 2013, 2014, 2013, I think. And, maybe 2014, actually. But it came out, and it was another cop versus racer type of game, kind of like Hot Pursuit, but there's free roam, I think. And, yeah, customization is very minimal. I think you change the colors of the cars and a couple little details. But other than that, that's about it. And I know the cops were very overpowered in that game. I remember that being a thing. And graphically wise, it doesn't look bad. Even after this many years, it still looks arguably pretty good. It looks pretty good for a racing game. But, again, it's just another slop Need for Speed game that was just another cop versus racer game that's there. It was just another soulless release. That's about it. But yeah. Need for Speed 2. I mean, not much to talk about. It's just another Need for Speed game, so there, I guess. Actually, yeah, it's there. It's there. It exists. It's there. High stakes. It's there. It exists. Okay. Need for Speed 3. Yeah, it's there. It exists. Yep, it's there. Yeah. I mean, there's what is there to talk about, guys? It's a 90s Need for Speed game. That's another cop versus racer game. What do you want me to talk about? It's straightforward. It's there. It exists, guys. I mean, I don't know what much to talk about, man. I didn't grow up playing those games, but still, they have a, you know, you know, it makes me look bad if I put it all there, you know, never play it, because it makes me look uncultured, okay? Go screw yourselves. I'm joking. Don't do that, okay? But still. We're dwindling down, huh? Alright, so let's talk about the oldest Need for Speed game that we played on the channel. Need for Speed Underground. This came out 22 years ago. Back all the way in 2003, where all the hype is, you know, on these 24-inch rims and, you know, hydros and neon underglow and these, you know, loud rap music and, you know, Fast and Furious vibes. That's when this game came out, and man, oh man, it fit with the time. It fits with the time, and it's a fun game. Very repetitive, you know. Of course, it doesn't have free roam. That's one aspect that game does not have. But at least you can customize your cars. The car list was, you know, it's very minimal, of course, but, you know, it's still fun. But, like, you have some surprising cars. You got the regular Dodge Neon, not the SRT4 Neon. I'm talking about the regular Neon that was in this game. You have the, you know, Ford Focus, but you have the ZX3 Focus. You have some oddball cars there that you don't expect to be in this game, but they are, and just, it's very weird. You don't have the, you know, the STI or the WRX. You have the regular Impreza. Not the STI. I'm talking about the regular Impreza. So yeah, that's the type of Need for Speed that. So, yeah, that's it's a little bit of a weird era of a Need for Speed game, but honestly, pretty fun. Honestly, it was a fun game, but it got pretty repetitive at times. So, but I get why a lot of people got attached to this game. To a lot of others, it's their favorite racing game. The song list, pretty good. The song list was pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. The vibe of this game matched of the early 2000s. So, yeah. Cutscenes, pretty fun. Cutscenes were bangers, honestly. Do I say they age well? That's, that's give or take, depends on your opinion, but it's fun. It's a fun one. So, I have the privilege to play this game, and I get why people enjoy this one. So I would say it's between very good and average. It's like borderline there. I would say it's the top of average. But it's very close between very good and average. Alright, it's between the middle. Alright? But yeah. Underground Rivals. Now that's another one that I haven't played. I know it came out on the PSP, I think. Huh. You know what? I'll put this on Never Played. This one I don't know too much about. I haven't done research on this one, so... Huh. Interesting. Alright. So... I'm assuming Underground Rivals is another PSP game that came out around this era that Need for Speed first started doing, because I don't know why. I know there's a PSP version of Most Wanted. Y'all can tell there's a PSP version of Carbon that was pretty good as well. The PSP version of Most Wanted was very bare bones, though. I didn't really enjoy that one. When it comes to Underground Rivals, I don't know much about this one, so let me know what this one's all about. Because I didn't do research on this one. I didn't have the experience with this one, so let me know what this one's all about. So yeah, I guess let's talk about the original Carbon. Carbon came out around 2006. It came out after Need for Speed 2005. You know, Most Wanted, of course, and Most Wanted, you know, set the bar very, very high. Maybe too high, because it got very, very hard to top it. And Carbon tried, and, oh, honestly, did a pretty good job, but wasn't all the way there. Carbon was a very, very short Need for Speed. It felt short. It felt quick, and, granted, it came out a year after Most Wanted, and, I don't know how long the development cycle between those two games were, like when it comes to developing the game, and you know, was early 2000s technology we're talking about, so I don't know. I'm assuming they probably used a lot of, you know, the same assets compared to Most Wanted and Underground 2 into Carbon, but you know, maybe updated, tweaked some things because it went to the Xbox 360, the next generation of consoles as well, so yeah, so maybe slightly better graphics and, you know, more things, small little details that were added in that version of the game. But Carbon, overall, the game, you have all these different racing events. You have the canyon racing events. You have drifting. Drifting is back, but you lost some of the other things like drag racing, and the cop chases didn't feel so needed. Cop chases were kept very minimal, and you didn't really deal with the cops all that much. It wasn't really required, which was very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate, and I wish there would have been more to that. There seemed to be some more they were leading on to when it comes to the cops, but like they didn't really lean into it, because I'm assuming they didn't want to have the completely same style as Most Wanted. So yeah. But Carbon had its own feel, it had its own identity. The canyon events were fun. They were very fun to do. Drifting was fun. It had its own feel. It matched, again, guess what movie that came out around 2006 that had that same feel, that you went and drift in canyons? Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Similar vibe, drifting in the canyon. Guess what we did in this game? Drifting in the canyon at night. You know how the characters look, you know, especially the love interests of the characters. I mean, look at Nikki compared to the chick from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. And let's talk about similarities there, huh? Come on, guys. Oh yeah, remember Need for Speed Undercover as well? It had that, you know, Same feel. You went undercover. You were an undercover agent as well. I'm assuming you're the same character from the older Need for Speed games, and he returned here in undercover. He took a break in Pro Street. You were Ryan Cooper for a bit, and then yeah. Also, can I say this? The main character in Need for Speed is not Ryan Cooper. Let's just get that out of the way. They're both different guys, alright? It was confirmed in Undercover as well that they're both different guys. But if you pay attention when you get arrested in Need for Speed Undercover, look at the style of the clothing that the main guy wears and, you know, what he looks like. Pay attention to the hair. Pay attention to the face. Pay attention to the build. And tell me when I'm telling lies, it looks similar to the main and protagonist in Most Wanted or in Carbon. Or even Undercover. Not even Undercover. Even in Underground 2. Look at the hair. And the build. And the skin color. There you go. Same guy. But yeah, Carbon. Yeah, back to Carbon. Again, very fun game. The storyline was pretty fun as well. And of course, you face some of the crew members. You have to take them down, and because they want revenge on you, but you managed to beat them and whip their asses because you got blamed for something you didn't do. And there you go. Carbon. Pretty fun game, honestly. Top of very good so far. Come on. Come. There you go. There we go. Top of very good. A very fun Need for Speed game. And if you didn't have the chance or privilege to play that game, recommend to do it. I recommend you play that game. But yeah, let's talk about the Shift games because they're both the same style of racing games. They're like the realistic take of Need for Speed, but like track racing and stuff. Imagine Pro Street, but taken up a notch when it comes to realism. And I would say they are average. I'll rank them the same there. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Yep. So I'll rank them average. Again, they're the same feel. They're fun games, but I didn't really have too many memories of those games. I did play them, but they were okay. I just don't have many memories of playing that game, of those games, and I didn't. And there's a reason why I didn't play those games on the channel, because I don't think they would do well when it comes to view-wise, because I don't think many other people have played this game or knew the existence of Shift. Maybe some of y'all do, but I don't think it will be very. I don't think it will do very well on the channel. But let me know if you played this game and what y'all think about this one. But yeah. Oh boy, the last three. Oh god. I don't know which one to start. I guess let's talk about the game that has that similar feel of the Shift games. And this was the first Need for Speed game that took the track aesthetic or track related routes. So, Pro Street came out around 2007. This game was the game that came out after Carbon. So, Need for Speed Pro Street follows the career of Ryan Cooper. Ryan Cooper is the main protagonist of this game. He drives that green S13 from the start and stuff, which was, again, very iconic car. Very iconic car. Gets talked about a lot. But, but yeah, you progress throughout the story, playing racing in many different racing tracks, famous ones, might I say. You know, Ebisu, Texas Speedway, many other of these tracks that are pretty famous. I ain't gonna lie. But the car list was a banger. The songs in this game, arguably one of the best in the entire franchise. And some might say, well, what about Underground 2 or Underground 1 or Most Wanted or Carbon or whatever? No. Pro Street has the best one. Arguably. The songs in this game my god, there's so many bangers in this game alone, man. Like, it's hard to top. It is hard to top the Pro Street song list. Like, the songs in this game were bangers, and I listened to them and repeat and repeat. I remember just, you know, just sitting in the main lobby of the game, hearing the songs in the background while I do something else. And I remember just jamming out, man. Like, the songs were bangers. I enjoyed that. Of course, the handling feel of the game was very different. They updated the handling when it comes to that game and has more of a realistic feel, and that transferred to Undercover, which unfortunately didn't work out so well. With Pro Street, we let it slide because it's a track racing game. They had to make it somewhat realistic, and of course the damage physics, they updated that as well to more of that realistic feel as well. And, you know, it was so-and-so. It was very iffy, and, I don't know. And then you got the many different racing events. Speed challenges and top speed runs were the most infamous ones because, my oh my, a lot of people did not enjoy the speed events, huh? Maybe some of y'all don't, maybe some of y'all did, and y'all are just some massive masochists because, good grief, man, the speed challenges are freaking painful to play through sometimes, and oh boy, it showed throughout my Need for Speed Pro Street Let's Play. God, they pissed me off so much sometimes, but I still had so much fun. Drifting in this game was a lot of fun. Drag racing was my favorite thing to do, man. It was so much fun to do drag racing in this game, man. It felt right. Drag racing done right in a racing game was Pro Street. It was pretty fun. It was so fun to do. And, man. And I played many of these newer Need for Speed games, and many of these newer racing games in general that tried drag racing doesn't match the feel of Pro Street. Not even close. Oh god, my voice. It's going out. But yeah. Pro Street, fun game. Very, very fun. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Yep. The Run. The Run is such a cool Need for Speed game. My oh my. The cutscenes alone were so much fun. It's essentially a movie Need for Speed. It's a movie Need for Speed. It is. It's better than the fucking actual Need for Speed movie. And it's a fucking game that has QuickTime events. Remember QuickTime events, guys? That was a big thing back in the 2010s, right? In many different games. But Run, oh boy, they done quite a bit of it. And it was fun. The racing aspect of the game was okay. It was very minimal, but like it was still fun. The environment surrounding the game as well. Throughout America, you race throughout the Nevada highway to the snowy peaks of God knows where. I think Colorado, where there's like a bunch of avalanches and stuff, and you have to drive through an air raid. There's whatever, a bunch of explosions and fucking boulders, and you had to dodge so many things. But yeah, it was so much fun, man. This game was so much fun. Gosh, and I wish Need for Speed will do something like this, or any other racing game will do something similar to this, where you have to race across country and do this sort of thing. Really hope they do a sequel. Really do. And this was the last hurrah of Black Box before they just went and left. After that, it was Criterion, and they made this pile. So, The Run, highly recommend playing this game, or at least watch the cutscenes, because the cutscenes alone were fun to watch. They were exciting. So, yeah, I would say very good. I would say it's very good, very, very good. And last, but certainly not the least, Underground 2. What is there left to talk about this game that I haven't talked about? Underground 2. is very, very important to this franchise because it felt like the first proper Need for Speed that really, really launched it. Yes, the original Need for Speed launched this franchise, but this skyrocketed this franchise. You could say Underground 1 did it, but Underground 2 left a bigger impact, a bigger legacy, and a lot more people are still talking about this game. And it came out over 21 years ago, and it's still very important to this franchise. Customization was peak. It was the first free roam Need for Speed game, I think. Maybe. I could be very wrong. But I think it was. And it was so much fun playing this game. So much fun. Replaying this game. And I had so many memories playing this game. This was my second Need for Speed game that I ever played. Yes, this game. Need for Speed Underground 2 was my second Need for Speed game that I ever played. It's the second game that I actually ever played as well, believe it or not. This and Most Wanted. Those were my first two games. Believe that. Need for Speed Underground 2 and Need for Speed Most Wanted were the first two games that I ever played. Let that sit in. Let that sink in. So, this was very important to my childhood as well, and I enjoyed it. Plus, it had the skyline. This was the reason I fell in love with the skyline, because the skyline of the cutscenes made me fall in love with the skyline. Not Fast and Furious. It wasn't Fast and Furious. It was this game. Need for Speed Underground 2 made me fall in love with the skyline, and it's the car that I still chase to this day in real life. That's my end goal car. That's the car that I need to have. That's the car that I'm chasing to get. That's the car that car alone is the reason why I'm into cars in general. I own a Nissan 370Z outside because of this game. Because I really love the 350Z. The 350Z was one of my first obtainable dream cars. That's a car I've been chasing for a while, and I bought a 370Z instead because it was slightly more modern and yeah, and more of a better daily driver as well. And I enjoy my 370. So yeah, yeah, you could say this is a very important game to me. So yeah, songs, bangers, many bangers in this game. The map looks great. The game itself looks pretty good as well. Even though it's 20 years old, it still looks pretty good. Still hasn't aged. You could arguably say, you know, it looks so more of a modern somewhat of a modern racing game as well. You know? So yeah, I miss this game. I miss where racing games are like this. And now it's just, I don't know. We don't have that same feeling. We don't. And it feels like we're at this void. We're may have reached the end point when it comes to racing games, that we might have peaked too early. And maybe quality has dipped down since. Who knows? But maybe one day a company will change that, and maybe a certain indie company could change that as well. Who knows? Or maybe I could change that. Who knows? Underground 2. I would say... Oh... There. And, yeah. Yeah. That's the list. That is the list of Need for Speed games that I've played or haven't played, but this is my personal opinion. Y'all can change that. Y'all can say whatever you want in the comments. I won't disagree. Y'all have the right to your own opinion when it comes to these games. Man, some of y'all could say, well, Need for Speed 2015, it should be up there, or Payback should be all the way down here, or fucking Need for Speed 2 should be up there, or something like that. You could say that. That's your opinion. And that's so great about this, man. You know, we all have our different backgrounds. We we have our likes and dislikes individually, and that makes it so great to, you know, have our own opinion, you know? And Need for Speed is, man, I don't know if we're gonna get another one. I don't know if we are ever gonna get another Need for Speed game after this, because, you know, as you heard late, we're not gonna get one for a while. The team is focusing on Battlefield or whatever, and I don't think we're ever gonna get one, or at least anytime soon. So, yeah, that's the list. So, folks, let me y'all know what games would you rank, what games would you rank where and stuff, and what y'all think. But you could say W list or you could say L list. I don't give a shit. That's your opinion. This is my list. This is my childhood. This is my playthroughs. So yeah. But if you're new here, and if you haven't checked out my playthroughs, go check them out. Recommend them. But otherwise, my name is Ozzy920. I'm here for the long run. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And I'll be seeing you guys later in the next video. Take care. Peace, love, take care of yourselves, and goodbye.